Hello everyone. I can see, okay, Kartikeya, Akhil, Gurram, Nanda. Welcome. How are you? Okay, fine. Good evening. Good evening. See, you know this topic today. This is ED session. The purpose of ED session is to enrich your content, right? Let's say you are preparing for mains, you are preparing for prelims. The idea of this session is to, give you concentrated knowledge, so that you can edit your notes through current affairs, enrich your mains answer. That is the main purpose. I will go at a particular wavelength, right? If you have any doubt, any problem, please, use this tab to. What you can do, you can type W. When you type W, I will assume that we are on the same wavelength. Okay? So please keep on typing W. And if you have any question, you can unmute you can ask, right? Myself, my name is Sudhir Kumar. I'm a teacher, I teach management optional and GS economy here at Lukmaan IAS. Regarding my background, I have a PGDM from IIM Lucknow, right? Wrote UPSC. Okay, if I can say I scored well in GS management optional. But all these things aside, my main purpose is, my and Lukmaan IAS purpose is to help provide good content and qualify this examination. Fine. So we are starting. Today's topic is internationalization of the rupee. Now, when you say internationalize the rupee, what it means? It means that you are using rupee like dollar. Let's say now dollar is kind of a reserve currency of the world. So you are trying to promote Indian rupees into trade. Okay, the world is going to use as a reserve currency. Okay, the financial instrument will be floated in INR. But the most important question is, what is the utility of it? Let's say, I believe everyone has got this handout. Everyone got this handout from Lukmaan IAS? Okay, wonderful. You must see you already have these notes. What I will try to do, I will take you at something even more than this handout, and idea is to tell you a story. Now, this internationalization of rupee. When I say we have to internationalize rupee, somebody might ask, okay, what is the utility of this? What the advantage India will have? So let's say USD is exchange rate is 80 INR. Okay, rupee 80. So if you have 2 USD, you will get 160 rupees, whether you are in, let's say, in India or in USA. So you will say, okay, monetary wise, there is no problem. I will get the same money. So what is the advantage if you internationalize your rupee? Okay, this is the story we are going to run. But before that, the most important thing is what is the where you can use this application in your prelims and mains. When we will run this story, we will talk a concept about sterilization, which is related to capital account as well. And you see, in 2023, there was a question in prelims on sterilization, right? Sterilization, and see, just knowing what is sterilization, that is different thing. But knowing the story behind that, what is the utility, how the RBI conduct open market operation, that is an entirely different thing. Okay, so we will run into that story. In mains, let's say somebody asks you attend this class, 30-40 minutes. What is the takeaway? We will discuss some concept. We will discuss concept like, impossible trinity, liquidity and profitability. You can use those concepts in your mains, in your essays. How to use those concepts, that I will tell. So directly you might not find in mains or prelims a question like this, but this knowledge, this takeaway, you should be able to use in your mains, right? And maybe solve some question. Okay, everyone? Please keep on typing W, if everybody is on the same wavelength, just type W. So, fantastic. Kartikeya, Nanda, okay, wonderful. Akhil, wonderful. Gurram, Zila Parisad. Okay. So, this is so somebody may ask, so you understand what is the meaning of internationalization? See, India is trying to promote INR into trade, into financial instrument, to put it as a reserve currency. But somebody might ask, what are the advantages? What are the advantages of internationalization of rupee? The most important advantage, and there are disadvantages, not only advantage, but disadvantage. When you say advantage, the most important advantage is convenience value. Convenience value, let's say if the world trade is happening in USD, although the exchange rates will apply, but the US is then more, that convenience is there because they print their currency and they know the trade has to do in, generally country will ask to pay payment in dollars, so that will bring convenience value. So try to use whenever you write convenience value. See, how a professor in UPSC makes differentiate between good answer and not so good answer by using phrase, concentrated. These kind of phrases will give you, will leave an impression on the professor, the one who is checking your copy. Okay, this aspirant. So try to use such phrases in your, somewhere in your copy. So one advantage, it gives you convenience value. Second thing, it is connected with the political prestige. Political prestige. Let's say US has that prestige, right? Because every country is conducting trade in USD. See, when I say conducting trade in USD, you have to understand that meaning. If, okay, let us take an example. There are two countries, X and Y. Okay? And both of them do not have USD as a currency. And now suppose they are trading, right? So when the X sends some goods to Y, X is, let's say, exporting, right? And Y is importing. This is export and this is import. So what, and they have not conducted much trade in the past. So what they will say, okay, the exchange of good is fine, but how I am going to, which currency we are going to conduct trade? Okay, this is a question which will naturally arise. Let's say there are two partners, they do not know each other. So either they want, somebody, middleman or, sometimes bank like that. So they need letter of credit. There is an important, you must know this term, letter of credit. See, UPSC asks questions in prelims like this. In news, you heard, there is a often repeated term, letter of credit. So you must know it is a document which is used in trade. What is the meaning of letter of credit? Let's say country X is exporting to country Y. So when the country is exporting, he will need some security, right? Some whether I will get payment or not. So country X exporter will tell country Y importer, give me some assurance, and that assurance is given by letter of credit. Letter of credit simply is issued by bank, and it says if country X export, then country Y will pay the payment, and if country Y does not pay the payment, then bank will ensure that country X gets the payment through that letter of credit. Okay, so this letter of credit is generally issued in USD. You got the point now. See that these two countries are having different currencies, but they will accept a letter of credit in USD, which is the main currency. So that is why it becomes, political prestige as well. Okay, so these are the advantages of currency. Now, there is one more term which is called signores. I am not sure if spelling is correct, but आप देख लीजिएगा. What it means, signores means, let me see if the spelling is correct or not. S-E-I-G-I-N-O. S-E-I-G-N-I-O. Okay. Everything is fine. Only this has to be I and signores. Okay. What it simply means, see, इसके बहुत सारे again there is a theory involved here, but in simple terms what you must know, let's say some country, in this case country X, let's say India is holding USD, and it is because India has to hold USD. Let's say India imports something, so India has to make payment in USD. So that USD which India is holding, on that India is not getting any interest. Okay. See, investment purpose is different, but holding some foreign currency just to make payment for imports, right? Because let's say, मान लीजिए आपका किसी का let's say यूरोप से कुछ आया, यूरोप में तो छोड़िए, let us take some Canada से कुछ आया. So generally Canada will also ask for USD rather than payment in INR. No. Or they will not even look for Canadian dollar, because see, nobody wants to go into, that exchange rate mechanism and all those things. They want safety, and the safety comes through USD. Okay, so this is the one kind of advantages. But there are some disadvantages of international currency. Can you somebody guess what could be the disadvantage of let's say you have internationalized rupee. What could be the disadvantage? Anyone? Kartikeya, Akhil, Mifta, Nanda, anyone want to guess? Market rate fluctuation. Okay, Akhil, can you just explain it? When you say market rate fluctuation. Okay, exchange rate fluctuation. Why? Just, monetary management. Monetary management would be difficult, right? Because let's say, okay, second point is clear. Let's say Indian rupee becomes, it is now become as a, internationalized. So India, that RBI does not have only look for the domestic monetary policy, because then INR is going to affect world's monetary policy as well. So second point is fine. First one, I want little explanation, Akhil. Exchange rate, please. Anyone? See, it generally does not, it is, what is the point? Whenever there is a large, whenever a currency is large in circulation, so what happens? There is a fluctuation in its price. Now, what is the theory behind that? We cannot go into that. This is not a hardcore economics class, but this thing you must know. Even this thing, let's say there is an economics professor. He or she will say this thing will happen 90%. This is not, this will not happen 100% of the time, but more or less. When you observe the data, whenever it's a particular currency is large in circulation, it increases the price of the volatility in the price is high. Okay. See, now some idea came to my mind automatically. So all the different, but I should share with you. Option pricing, right? There are options, call option, put option. So what is the option? Option means, let's say, there is a good X. I believe after 3 months, the price of the good might be, increase or decrease. So I will have option, not obligation, whether to, if the price increases, you may buy it or you may not buy it. So generally these options are highly volatile. The prices is highly volatility. But remember one thing, when you increase the option pricing in the market, it reduces the total volatility of the market. Now this seems paradox, but keep this thing in mind. Something which is very volatile in itself, when you increase the inflow of it in the market, it will reduce the volatility of the market. Now it seems paradox. We cannot go into theory here because this is not a finance class or economics class, but keep this thing in mind. Always remember, option pricing, which itself is volatile, will reduce the volatility of the total, total standard deviation. We call it variance of the market. Fine. Okay. So one of the disadvantages, yes, price fluctuation. You have to look for the monetary management of the world. This is fine. Now, if you have gone through the handout, you know that RBI had conducted 2 studies in which in 2011-12, and they said India can go for the internationalization of the rupee, but it has to go cautiously. Because, see why it has to go cautiously? Because India has seen the experience of many countries. So now what I will do, I will kind of tell you a story. In this story, do not write too much, just listen, and if you will remember this story, see what happens. If somebody tells you some idea, you absorb it through, through notes, through story. There are 5 senses. So through one of those senses, you absorb it and try to internalize. How does internalization happen? By when you have to think it concentratedly. You have to think on whether you read something, you listen something, and then you have to make it your own story. So the story which I am going to tell is now internationalization experience of UK, USA, and other countries. So what happened before 1917 was the year when USD became more or less international currency. Fine. And you can observe it. This was the World War period. Okay, more or less. Something after that, but 1914 to 19, the World War period. But somebody asks, what is the essential, prerequisite for a currency to become a, international currency, reserve currency? So somebody may say, okay, that particular country should have a large economy. Okay, large economy, depth of the financial market. Okay, high liquidity of that currency should be there. India is aspiring that. India is, fifth largest economy in nominal terms. US has already reached how much? I think $29 trillion, 29, 30. I think 27, 28. Okay, China is how much in nominal term? 19, 20 dollars. Sorry, trillion dollar. So India is still at the fifth stage. So now somebody says, okay, India is not the largest economy, how it can, become an international currency? But there are other factors. One is depth of the financial market. Depth of the financial market, when you say that Indian currency is being promoted into financial instrument for forwards. If you do not understand what is forward, future, do not worry. It is just, more or less you can understand. When I say forward, it means it is a kind of an agreement that in future date, I will buy some particular object at so and so price. Okay. Future is also very limited to that. When you say derivative, see, when you study derivative, it is mathematical thing. But if you have to explain derivative in simple terms, it means something which derives its value from some other asset. Okay. Let's say I have a bag of rice. Even on this bag of rice, I can float derivative. If I have gold, on the basis of gold, I can float derivatives. So derivatives are floated on the basis of some asset. Okay. So India has some condition, not largest, but the fifth largest economy. Financial market depth is, gradually rising. But should India go after, this aim that we have to internationalize rupee? No. My point is, it is not a very, very, very important aim. And that's why these two studies have also said that India should go cautiously. So what happened in 1917 when USD became kind of an international currency? Before that, Great Britain pound, pound sterling, it was the kind of a world currency. Okay. Now what happened? See, 1872, more or less, 1872 is the year when the US currency overtook UK currency. Okay. US economy became the more larger than your UK currency. But it still did not become the reserve currency of the world. Why it happened? Any idea? Because the other things were missing. USD does not have financial depth of the financial market. In fact, see what happened. Federal Reserve is the central bank of US, right? Like as we have RBI, US have federal bank. Before Federal Reserve was established, JP Morgan, JP Morgan is also asset company and bank. It was kind of a de facto central bank of US before, if I'm not mistaken, before 1905, something like that. So now there is a famous story. What is this story? JP Morgan, what he did, he was kind of in his study, in his room, he logged 5-7 most influential financial manager of the US, and he said, I'm not going to release you till you establish the central bank of US. Yani, central bank means Federal Reserve. Now somebody might ask, this person was having so much power that he was acting like a de facto central bank, but he himself is locking somebody in a room and saying those person that please float a start a central bank, otherwise I'm not going to release you. Why? See, that is why the system become important. See, at one time we realized individuals cannot run the system. We need institutions. Okay, that is the story behind the central bank. And gradually after that came, there was a Senator Aldrich. Okay, Senator Aldrich. He established, he came with the Aldrich plan and he established the central bank. And then, see, the real establishment was done by the Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, during World War I, in 1913, he established central bank. See, you do not have to mug up this. You have to see the journey of the US. In the US, before US became a international currency, reserve currency, all these things US went through. The same experience India will also have. India already have central bank and all those things. Now, okay, not only this, there are other issues involved as well. One important idea before we go into experience of let's say Germany and what is happening in China renminbi, you must know two important concepts. One important concept is impossible trinity. Impossible trinity. And what is impossible trinity? It says if you have open capital account, okay, everyone okay with capital account and current account? Simple terms, current account when I say, right, whatever you trade, export minus import, let's say you are running SCAD, current account deficit, it simply means NX, right, trade mein kitna. When I say capital account, it means whatever you are investing in asset, let's say some US company come and it invests in India in some asset, then that is taken as positive. Always remember, capital account, you do calculation other way. If your export is less than your import, your CAD will be negative. But if some some foreign company is investing more in India, then capital account will be taken positive. So you have to understand this calculation. So what this impossible trinity says, if you are having open capital account, then either monetary policy and managing forex foreign exchange rates. You cannot have all these things together. Let's say RBI want to have full control on the monetary policy, okay, and as well as manage forex in. So either it has to have floating rate. It has to have floating rate. Then it can happen. RBI can have two things: open capital account and monetary policy. And then it has to be floating. See why I brought in this concept into picture? Mainly for one thing. Whenever you internationalize a currency, right? The one important thing is you have to have open capital account. But in India, not only in India, but most of the developing countries, you have partially open capital account. When I say partially open capital account, what it means, in simple terms. Let's say, and see, and this is also now connected with your story of sterilization. Let's say, okay, try to imagine this is India, right? This is India and this is US. Now an investor comes and he wants to invest in India, okay? And you have partial capital, partial convertibility. What you will do? The investor has first, what he has to do, it has to convert that currency, right? That is the meaning of partial convertibility. It has to, let's say he came with that USD. So what he will do, he will park USD with the RBI, get the access, Indian rupee, and then he will invest in that. Everyone okay? Any doubt? So see, once you do that, so what it will lead to? It will lead to the, it will appreciate your currency. Do you agree with this? See, what is happening? Demand of Indian rupee is increasing. Let's say some investor wants to India and there is partial convertibility. So demand of Indian rupee is increasing, right? The moment demand of Indian rupee is increasing, so what will happen? Tell me. Your currency will appreciate, okay? The moment your currency will appreciate, what will happen to your trade competitiveness? It will come down, right? See, whenever your currency depreciates, your exports become cheaper. But whenever your currency will appreciate, your export will become expensive. So your export will suffer. So do you understand from this point also? Sometimes countries are not very, very much interested in, moving towards internationalization of currency. Because when the demand of a currency, see, demand of a currency is not a real factor. You understand the difference between real factor and when the demand, real factors kya hai? Increasing the knowledge, education of citizens, okay, developing infra, Okay, that is the real factor. Simply increase, let's say demand of Indian rupee increased. Now this appreciated your Indian rupee. So what will happen? Your export will become expensive, and that is a problem for India. Now here one more thing. See, not only your export will become expensive due to currency appreciation, it will also lead to inflation. If somebody can explain me why demand of INR will increase inflation, I would be happy, please. You can type your, you can unmute yourself or tell me, you can type it. Demand supply mismatch. Okay, Akhil, but how? Let's say, from this example, you tell me. What I'm saying, investor came from US, he, he's parked excess USD with the RBI and, took INR and invested there. But in this process, how the inflation is rising? Less credit will then avail. Less credit. Okay, how but less credit is how? Will then available to the bank. That's fine, okay, but see, what is the main essence here? During this process, this particular investor has increased the supply of Indian rupee, but was there more currency come out from the bank too? Okay, see, the main point is this. Whenever you increase the supply of money without increasing goods, this leads to inflation, right? So what this US investor did, this investor came due to partial convertibility, he took Indian rupee, parked USD in with RBI and increased the supply of rupee in the market. But there was no proportionate increase in goods. So whenever there is excess money, with excess money chasing few goods, it leads to inflation. Okay. Okay, thank you. So now remember this thing. So your currency, your currency appreciation, too much demand of a currency is not always good. Now, see, now UPSC asked in prelim this year question. I think it was in, let me see. Okay, yes, SAT, question number 24, SAT A. Okay, the question was very simple. In, which of the following activities are the part of sterilization by RBI? Okay, sterilization, and the first option was conducting open market operation. So, see, ये तो क्या है? Okay, you know what is sterilization, see, ये एक fact हुआ, आपकी understanding develop नहीं हुई, आपकी understanding now, if you know this thing, now you tell me, okay, what the US investor did, they increased the supply of Indian rupee in the market to reduce that liquidity. Okay, what the RBI can do, what option? How RBI reduces liquidity? Because RBI has to OMO, wonderful, right? By conducting open market operation. Now, see, with this understanding, what you have known, what is open market operation and open installation ka part hai, that is open market operation, installation of part. But now you have to take your understanding even at a higher level. Okay, now what I'm saying, open market operations are not always effective. In fact, it is a double-edged sword. Double-edged sword, you understand, right? It can cut both ways. It can sometimes help, sometimes it cannot help. So please listen carefully. Now you said there is an excess supply of money here. Okay. Now to reduce this excess supply or reduce the liquidity, what the RBI will do? RBI will increase interest rate. Right? That is the monetary policy tool they have. The moment you increase interest rate, what happens? Finance Ministry, they will object. No, please do not increase interest rate. This is going to reduce the investment. See, whenever you increase interest rate, what it means? Why Finance Ministry is in trouble? Government in general, because they know whenever you increase interest rate, the borrowing cost increases. When the borrowing cost increases, the investors, They will say, even if I invest in something, if I get some profit, the borrowing cost is so high, I might not be profitable, right? That is the main essence. Because let's say I have to start a business and I see, okay, interest rate is so high, if I take loan, the interest rate is, 15%. Even I make, like 16% from this project, what is my profit? 1%. For 1%, why I'm going to take so much trouble, right? So that's why your investment decreases. Now, so generally, whenever you increase interest rate to control inflation you have to keep in target, but generally it is avoided. Interest rate should not be increased. It is not good for healthy for economy. Now, let's say in this process, in this OMO process, RBI increase your interest rate to reduce liquidity. What signal it will send to the US investor? What US investor will observe? Any idea? He will invest more, invest less? Anyone? Chirag, Subhashis? If you guys have any question, invest more. Wonderful. Okay. See, now you got the picture. Why it is a double-edged sword. What was the idea of sterilization? To prevent, see, what was happening? US investor was, investing here. It increased the liquidity, right? To control that liquidity, RBI came with the sterilization, OMO, increased interest rate. And what that increased interest rate is doing? Provoking, encouraging investor to invest more. Okay, so you got the crux. See, economics is not so simple. See, when you have read, let's say, lots of management, finance and economics, sometimes you feel, let's say you study literature, you study story, right? And you study economics, it becomes same at one particular level. But if some link is missing in the story, let's say somebody told you a story, but some particular, paragraph or link was missing, you will say, no, story is not convincing. So try to always have a convincing story. So you got it? So why this OMO operations, sterilization? See, knowing sterilization, knowing OMO, knowing impossible Trinity, these are facts. But connecting them to understand what is happening in the real world, so that is, so okay, now my important question. Given this scenario and you have the understanding of what is happening in the Indian economy, what you will recommend? Let's say maybe not now, after 10 years, if you have, if you work hard, you have good fortunate and you become member of some committee, and you have to tell whether India should go for internationalization of money. So somebody would like to give me, just type your thought. If you type your thought, type with some logic. Let's say you discourage internationalization. So why? Please, everyone. Invest more. Okay. Sorry. Any opinion you want to say whether India should go for internationalization or not? You can unmute or you can type. Just say yes or no. See, there is no black and white answer, but maybe something you would like to type, or at least you will think. At least you will think. Given all this scenario, given this picture, internationalization of rupee is fine, but it should not be on the priority of India. Priority should be like poverty. First 3 SDGs, those should be priority. Making reducing. See what is happening in Indian trade. More or less, service sector surplus is your financing your merchandise deficit. This is the more or less picture, and your oil deficit. Oil trade deficit. But you can take your understanding even at a high level. What I mean to say, see, if you write these kind of points, in India is importing almost 1 lakh crore of vegetable oil. इस पे क्वेश्चन भी था आपके प्लेन्स में आता है क्या, राइट? इंडिया इज a big importer of vegetable edible oil. Okay. Now 1.5 lakh crore is big. Okay, you try to visualize this thing, compare this thing with the farmer debt, the number of farmers who commit suicide, if you transfer that money to that, okay, how much, fiscal, there is a story running, reducing fiscal deficit, NK committee, FRBM review committee, that you have to bring a fiscal deficit in this target. Your debt should be 60%. You know all those story. Now, all that is fine. But now imagine this thing, 1.5 lakh crore vegetable oil import bill. If every Indian just stop, reduce, 1 spoon of vegetable oil per day, how, almost 80%, I would not say 80%, 50% तो ऐसे ही कम हो जाएगा, right? और ये इसके लिए कोई policy कुछ की जरूरत नहीं है. Every Indian will do it, and you will see the effect in, and this money can be used somewhere. So when you see why I'm telling this story, when you study, जब आप इस तरह internalize करते हो ideas को, तो इस तरह की stories will automatically come to your mind कि what is happening in the economy. Okay, vegetable oil import इतना ज़्यादा है, farmer suicide इतना है, right? अपना trade deficit इतना है, how to connect them, how to bring them down. You will say, okay, this is the problem of habit. It is a fooding habit, right? So this is the way you can control it. So now what I will do, now somebody might ask question. Let's say sterilization is not working. So what are the other tools which central banks have? So one important tool is interest equalization tax. You must know it. Interest equalization tax. What it means? You understand the story, now you saw OMO through sterilization, they may not be always effective. Okay, let me just read. People have written something. A rupee need to go to internationalization. It will support own currency transaction without currency dependency to avoid foreign currency. Okay, India is not yet diverse all over. International not bad. Okay, all over. Okay, Akhil, okay, that's fine. But you always remember one thing. Now, since you mentioned this diversification of trade is no guarantee to reducing CAD. Right? See, reducing CAD. I don't say that if you diversify trade, it will reduce CAD. No, but the correlation between diversifying a trade. Let's say you diversify your trade. Okay, India diversified trade. It will lead to reduction of CAD. No guarantee. Okay, in fact, economics student read this topic in depth. Okay, so that's fine. Good, you keep on thinking. और जब भी आपके free time हो ना, जब उसमें जब आंसर लिख रहे हो, तो उसमें सोचो. See, UPSC मेंस में क्या है? You have to write 3,500 words. कुछ लोग क्या है पहले story. You can also create magic in 3,000 words. आपको जो final जो selection होना है, वो 3 घंटे में आपको 3,000 to 3,000 generally कितना है? 3,500 to 3,200 words है. Okay. इस big picture में, if I include to this lecture, from this lecture you will write hardly how many words? 5 or 10 words. But the way you are going to write it, you are going to link the concept. Let's say sterilization वाला जो concept है, you linked it somewhere. Okay, now it internalized. Now we will discuss this concept. Now after that we will discuss profitability, liquidity. If you can link those concepts in your essay, or you can make that diagram. So you have to create that magic. That quality thing has to come. Fine. Now, given that sterilization may not be sometime effective, government, central banks and they adopt interest equalization tax. What it means? Let's say, again take two scenarios. India is there and USA is there. Fine. Interest rate in USA is, let's say, 10%, and interest rate in India is, let's say, 8%. And forget transient human emotion that I'm Indian. No. Just simply hardcore economics. If I am an investor, where I would like to invest, in US or India? US, right? Fantastic. But let's say it is not fully fully convertible. It is again partial convertibility. So what I will also think? I will think, okay, I have this much money. Let's say I have 5 million Indian rupee. First I have to convert into USD given that there is a partial convertibility, then I will think, okay, I have to go to bank, what is the transition fee and, commission, all those things. Then I will think whether I will get a profit or not. Okay, then even I realize I'm getting 1% profit, right? 1%. So what I will do, I will still invest in USA. Fine. Now, to prevent this thing, just see interest, okay, let's say US increase the interest rate to 10%. India can do, I can make it 11%. But this monetary policy tools, manipulation, these are not the real factors, okay? So, such, monetary policy, this thing, they can work only to some extent. So, generally, to avoid such things, to discourage such investors, what government do, they apply interest equalization tax. What it mean? What the Indian government might do, let's say you are getting 1% extra, after commission and all those things, Indian investor is getting 1% extra in US. So government may say whatever interest you get, उस पे यानी कुछ taxes लग सकता है, which will equalize the return. Okay. Now somebody might ask question, what is the problem with the Indian government? Why Indian government, any government, why they will try to apply such kind of taxes? The answer is again the same. If interest rate is rising due to real production in economy and all those things, then it is fine. Okay. But if some country is just manipulating interest rate through monetary policy tool, then what will say, it will overheat the economy. Okay, it will overheat the economy. It will be inflationary in nature, and that is not fine. That's why such kind of tools are used. Fine. Now, see one more thing, one more concept I want to share with you. See, let's say you are a student of economics or no. बट जो बेसिक कंसेप्ट है उसकी यदि आपके माइंड में इनकलकेट हो गया, आप उसको लिख सकते हो. ये मोर और लेस हमेशा होता है दैट वेन एवर यू इंक्रीज प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी मेरे ख्याल से profitability and liquidity. They have trade-off. See, इसमें trade-off होता है. See, ये जो trade-off है ना, ये liquidity profitability में नहीं है, carrying cost and operating cost में. ये जो trade-off है, we will invest 5 minutes in this, carrying cost and ordering cost. जो concept यहाँ पर है, वही यहाँ पर है. First, liquidity and profitability. Let's say I have some money. Okay, I have some money. Now I have to decide whether I should, and I'm running a business. I have some money. So I will need some, for my working capital. Working capital, you understand, for your immediate need. Working capital का जो technical definition होता है वो होता है current asset plus current liabilities. But sorry, current asset minus current liabilities. But working capital for a restaurant would be कि okay, कुछ मान लीजिए कुछ रेंट देना है, ओके, एम्प्लॉयज को पे करना है इस मंथ में, कोई इमीडिएट कुछ चेंजेस कराना है, तो उसके लिए वर्किंग कैपिटल चाहिए. सो आई विल थिंक, ओके, हाउ मच मनी आई शुड कीप एज ए वर्किंग कैपिटल इन कैश और समथिंग लाइक दैट, एंड द रिमेनिंग मनी हाउ मच आई इन्वेस्ट इन बैंक सो दैट आई गेट इंटरेस्ट. So there is a trade-off. If you maintain too much liquidity, if you keep too much money in as a working capital, then you are going to lose interest on that, okay? Because you are not depositing that money in bank. Fine, everyone? Please keep type, because this is an important concept, W, right? So, okay, fine. So if you are not investing that money in bank, so this is increasing your liquidity. You have more money, but you are losing profit, right? You are so always remember there is a and if you, let's say, if you keep very little liquid capital and you put too much in bank, so every time you have to go to bank and get the money, like it is like some people who withdraw 500 rupees per day from ATM, right? So that going to ATM and they do not realize going to ATM and coming back, that itself is a cost. Okay, so same way, see what I'm saying, this idea somewhere in a maze copy in economics or GST, try to put this idea, and how you have to connect with your GS syllabus, that is your responsibility. But whether you are a student of history or whatever optional, this concept, the professor who is going to check your copy, more or less, these are very learned professor, 20-25 years of experience, central universities. So they know already this idea. If you can write this concept in words, in let's say in 10 words, you can make this diagram, you will definitely get 1 extra mark. Okay, क्योंकि सी इकोनॉमिक्स का कोई कोर्स करके फाइनेंस में कोई कोर्स किया, यहीं पे यही चीज में आता है ना, तो सी ऑलवेज राइट देयर इज अ ट्रेड ऑफ बिटवीन लिक्विडिटी एंड प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. फाइन. नाउ द सेम थिंग हैपेंस विद द कैरिंग कॉस्ट एंड ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट. व्हाट इट मीन्स टू से, आइडिया वही है. लेट्स से आई एम ए शॉपकीपर, आई रन ए डिपार्टमेंटल स्टोर. इफ आई कैरी टू मच इन्वेंट्री, वो होता है ना शॉप भरी हुई है सामान से, but that is not a good thing. See, always remember, a good manager would like to have zero inventory, a good business would like to have zero inventory. See, the shop भरा हुआ है, shop तो सामान तो आ गया है, पेमेंट उसका हो गया है, right? So you are carrying that, वो depreciate भी हो रहा है, जो सामान जो रखा है वो धीरे धीरे, right, खराब भी हो रहा होगा. तो वो सब losses किसके हैं? वो शॉपकीपर के losses हैं. So if you carry too much, so क्या होगा, वो भी ठीक नहीं है. और मान लीजिए आपने कैरी नहीं किया, आप इस तरह का मॉडल अडॉप्ट कर रहे हो कि एवरी डे यू आर ऑर्डरिंग, और मान लीजिए सपोज सम कस्टमर केम एंड ही आस्क्ड फॉर समथिंग एंड शॉपकीपर कुड नॉट सप्लाई, सो देयर इज ए कस्टमर लॉस, राइट? सो यू हैव टू स्ट्राइक ए बैलेंस बिटवीन कैरिंग कॉस्ट एंड ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट. सो व्हाट द शॉपकीपर्स डू जनरली, दे से ओके वीक में एक बार ऑर्डर कर देते हैं. सी जो मैनेजमेंट प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, जो थ्योरी है, सो इफ यू अप्लाई द एफिशिएंट थ्योरी, सो दे विल से ऑर्डर डेली. इनफैक्ट ये होता है जस्ट इन टाइम, एक होता है जस्ट इन टाइम का. इनफैक्ट आपके इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में मेंशन किया है. जस्ट इन टाइम मींस इधर ऑर्डर नहीं किया, उधर जैसे मैकडी में होता है ना, इधर ऑर्डर किया थोड़ी देर में बर्गर. दे आर मोर फॉलोइंग जस्ट इन टाइम. बट व्हाट द इकोनॉमिक सर्वे सेज, इंडिया हैज टू मूव फ्रॉम जस्ट इन टाइम टू जस्ट इन केस. सी कस्टमर लूजिंग कॉस्ट इज बिग. मान लीजिए कोई कस्टमर आया, राइट, the material was not there, okay, so the customer is lost. Customer क्या सोचेगा कि इस शॉप पे तो कुछ होता ही नहीं है. So one has to strike a balance between carrying and ordering cost. So why I discuss these two ideas, see ये concept दो हैं, लेकिन जो logic है beneath, that is जो liquidity और profitability में logic था, वही आपका carrying and ordering cost में है. Okay, so I hope somewhere you will use this concept. Now इंटरेस्ट इक्वलेशन हो गया, ये हो गया. ओके, वन मोर थिंग. सी एक जनरल जो आइडिया है, इफ यू सी द इंडियन करेंसी एट प्रेजेंट, ओनली 1% इन द टोटल वर्ल्ड सर्कुलेशन, इट इज ओनली 1%. ओके, द बिग पिक्चर इज दिस, यूएस इज 80% पार्ट ऑफ द सर्कुलेशन, योर देन कम्स योर यूरो, देन कम्स योर renminbi, and then I think yen and mark, okay, rand and franc. So, but India's INR circulation is very, but now things like masala bonds, okay, masala bonds, you understand what is, you are selling bonds in Indian INR denominated, okay. That is one instrument of promoting internationalizing Indian currency. Now, second thing, see, this internationalization will happen through even developing financial institution. What the China did almost 10-15 years back. China started projecting Shanghai as a world capital of finance. You know, generally Singapore and London are considered, you know, Singapore, London, New York, these are considered three. But China has projecting it for the last 10-15 years. The same thing India is doing, you know, gift city, right? Gift city. So these kind of, see, suppose you know what is gift city, you know Shanghai, but now connecting the dot, okay, China did it for Shanghai, India is doing through gift city, okay. So you have to somehow mix these ideas and write in your mains or, you know, mains copy somewhere. So these are the tools. Regarding this, I hope you will go through this document, you know, please go through. And a process of intellectual is fine. You know, I think it is fully understood. Okay, did I mention Triffin dilemma? Triffin dilemma I mentioned? Okay, in this handout, okay, this is one more concept. And there is also Triffin dilemma. What it says? I think Professor Robert Triffin, I'm not sure his name, what he said. Again, sir, current account deficit. Let's say if country is having large current account deficit. Okay. So for instance, US is running large current account deficit, right? US runs very, very big, In fact, okay, with US, India runs a, trade surplus or negative, it is deficit. Any idea? Surplus, yes, wonderful, yes. With US, we have surplus. So can you see, even country, India is having surplus. So, and this is, so US runs lots, big trade deficit. And US not too much worried about that. See, trade deficit, okay, let's say, I as an individual, let's say, suppose a country, I am asking somebody, I'm having, somebody to like cook food, maybe I have outsourced everything other than my core competence. Let's say as a UPSC aspirant, your core competence would be study hard, study hard, study hard. So everything you are outsourcing. So indirectly you are running a trade deficit, right? You are, you are asking for every services. But, even though there is, a deficit, but overall you might be growing. You understand my point? You understand this point? Overall, you are asking for lots of services, but you are focusing on your core competence. So same thing you can imagine for US. US is asking for, let's say, suppose US is asking for lots of potato. So that is fine. See, you are asking importing potato. At least you are not investing time in growing potato. Okay. So they are investing time in making in knowledge in technological products. That's why Apple and all those companies are there. So running a current account deficit should not be always taken as a problem. But what is the important point here? If you run too much current account deficit and there is not proportionate gold reserve, okay, there is not proportionate gold reserve, then people might start questioning the reserve value of USD. People will say, okay, see, US will say current account deficit means what? US will say, I will make you payment, right? What you paid me more, you gave me more, I gave you less, and whatever the deficit, I will pay. And US is running lots, and US is saying, okay, I will make payment in dollar, and US is not having proportionate gold reserve. See, why I'm talking about gold reserve? लोगों का USD में कितना विश्वास रहेगा? Finally, they will have belief in some asset, and that asset has to be gold. Okay, then people might start questioning USD's role as a reserve currency. Okay, so whenever you internationalize a currency, the particular country should also have proportionate gold reserve. Now, what the professor Triffin said, see, whenever you have increased CAD, okay, so what he said, there is a trade-off between CAD and internationalization of currency. Internationalization of currency, right? And you can see it from here. See, if you are having a large CAD, people will start losing, other countries will start losing faith in dollar or because there might not be proportionate gold reserve. So this dilemma you must know. So see, what is the experience? Not only USA, even Germany, France, they also had the same experience. So whenever this trade-off, whether countries should reduce their CADF or they should promote internationalization of a currency, they generally go for reducing CAD. Okay, so you must also take a leaf from here. Promoting currency as an international currency is not on a very high priority list. Fine. So this thing is fine. Now, okay, liquidity, impossible Trinity I have covered. Aldrich plan I have told you, right? Interest equalization scheme. Okay. US liquidity exchange. Okay. So there are some terms. Let liquidity exchange. So exchange rate. See, there are terms like currency risk, market risk, and your interest rate risk. Interest rate risk. I think you must know, all these things. Not in very deep. Yes, see, कोई concept जानने के लिए it is not necessary you have to go in, too much technically. But that the clarity of thought should be there. Most important thing when I say, see, this is the most important. Interest rate risk. One can manage currency risk, market risk, but interest rate risk are more difficult to manage, and they are, big trouble for banks as well as countries. When I say interest rate risk, what it means? Try to understand this way. See, other risk you can manage, but interest rates are there is called yield curve. What I'm calling yield curve. Yield curve. See, you are coming. Let's say this is duration. Duration means year. Okay, it should be generally okay. And this is interest rate. Generally, what happens? Let's say somebody borrows money for a very short duration. The interest rate would be less. Okay, and when somebody borrows for a long period, interest rates are generally more. Can somebody tell why it happens in the what is the reason behind it? When you borrow for a long period, why the interest rates are high? Anyone wishes to type? Generally, see what happens. You are investing that money for a long period. The project becomes risky, right? Let's say you give somebody money for 10 years. So there might be many eventualities. Higher gestation period, yes. Actually, so that's why you have to understand. Whenever you increase that, term, what will happen? People will ask for more returns. So in fact, there is a trade-off between risk. This is risk, and this is return. What is this? As your risk of keep on increasing, this is standard deviation. Standard deviation. As your risk will keep on increasing, your people will ask for more return. Fine. So why it is difficult to manage? Because why interest rates are difficult to manage? Because you cannot predict the future. Okay. You can inbuild so many models, but how you will make out this thing? So what I am suggesting, whenever you somewhere in mains copy or somewhere, you must keep this thing in mind. Even while reading economic survey, that interest rate risk are difficult to manage. Okay, and managing interest rate risk is something even more than monetary policy or something. It needs ecosystem of financial institution. Fine. Now coming to the market risk. Market risk is more related to with your inflation, GDP, right? What is the condition of GDP, growth rate? So one thing you must understand, let's say, do you know this concept? When you diversify a portfolio, you can reduce your risk. Anyone? See, this year in prelims, UPSC asked the question, what do you understand by beta? Okay. So, I'm asking, beta means, beta is again your risk measure. In prelims, there was a question, beta, what is beta? Beta is nothing but the tan theta. It tells how your security is varying with the market. Okay, what is how your return on the security is varying with the market. So similarly, you must know one more concept, that what is portfolio? Portfolio means you have a basket in which you have put some bonds, some debentures, some equity funds, and and in this basket, and now you have some money. So what you will do, some part of money you will invest in bonds, some in equity, right, some debentures, right? So you are diversifying. As you diversify your trade, you are diversifying your investment. So what the theory says, whenever you diversify your portfolio, you can reduce the risk. Now see what is the mathematics or uske beech mein kya behind hai, we cannot go into that, but yes, logically I can tell you, let's say if you have to tell some 5-year-old child, why when you diversify your portfolio, when you diversify your investment, how your risk reduces. You can simply think like this. Let's say I'm investing in two companies, one company A and one company B. Company B and company 2, B, A and B are in such segment, let's say if company A goes up and company B will go down. Let's say school, company B is investing in schools. Okay, so if the company A is going up and company B is investing in, let's say, liquor consumption, tobacco consumption. So if the company A is going up, so this will also go down. You understand this part? So what I am doing, I am investing my money, some part in this and some part in this. So I know if this thing will go up, this thing will come down, or this thing will come down, this will come up. Okay? So see, उसका mathematics है, standard deviation, correlation, उसमें नहीं जाएंगे. But this thing you must know. This thing, whatever your optional subject or ये आपको समझना चाहिए. In fact, I will tell you one thing. You know Dr. Subarao book, right, for ethics. In ethics के लिए book आती है ना Dr. Subarao की, right? So उसमें उन्होंने अब no, he has no background in finance or something, but in one page he had talked about financial investment model. Now you have to understand somebody who is talking about finance without having a, तो उन्होंने एक मॉडल की बात की है. उन्होंने जो बेसिक जो कंसेप्ट है, लॉजिक है, उसको पकड़ लिया है without going into mathematics. The same way you must understand this, कि whenever you diversify your portfolio, you reduces risk. Okay, and you know interest rate risk, you know market risk. Similarly, currency risk. Currency risk is more related with your exchange rate. Okay, how robust is that currency? Fine. So I think today I have bombarded with so many concepts. Even see what you can do. You can just write it. Take a page, A4 sheet, and on that take out 4-5 important points from this lecture. उसको internalize करो और कहीं ना कहीं मेंस पे लिख के आओ. ओके, तो आप देखोगे नहीं, आई कैन एश्योर यू कि इसी लेक्चर से आपके 4 से 5 नंबर तो बढ़ने कोई नहीं रोक सकता. Nobody can stop that thing. Okay, any question so far? बताइए. If there is no question, we will we will stop. And Gurram, Swashish. Yeah, please.
Sir, UPSC has our information currency now. So they have our 80% they are covering over the world of the currency. They are getting more profit. So India has been covered more internationalization of the currency.
Gurram, आपकी voice break हो रही है. Can you please come again?
Sir, are you getting now, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, UPSC present is circulation money 80% more than 80%
80%? India?
No, sir, US currency.
Okay, yes, more than 80% circulation, yes.
If the India has been increased the circulation of rupee international wide,
Okay.
we will get more profit or what is the situation? Sir, if we increasing the international, it will get benefit compared to.
See, again, it is not black and white, right? When you say, that's what a story we have run. Okay, you are saying India is having only 1% circulation, and the US is having almost 80% plus. If India increases this circulation, I say there might be some profits, some benefits, some advantages, but there are also associated disadvantages, right? So again, the story is not very clear. You have to go into details. You have to see whether you increase circulation or not. Whether you make international, no, it does not matter. More important thing is the way you are writing your answer, the logic which you are giving. Let's say you tell the experience of Germany. See, Germany, okay, मैंने वो story बताई नहीं, but I will just tell you in 1 minute. Germany was also trying to internationalize its currency. So Germany when the Germany mark start appreciating, so Germany said no, we are not going to internationalize our currency, because जब जर्मनी में मार्क अप्रिशिएट हुआ तो जर्मनी का जो मर्चेंडाइज ट्रेड है, दैट कार का जो एक्सपोर्ट है, दैट डिक्रीज्ड बिकॉज द मार्क अप्रिशिएटेड. सो जर्मनी सेड ओके, करेंसी इंटरलेशन इज is not on our priority. What is on our priority is promoting export, promoting technology, promoting investing in real factors. Okay, Guram, thank you. So see what I'm saying. If you will guys will keep regular, we will take it at a very, very high level. Okay, I will assure you, through this ED section, आजकल तो डिफिकल्ट हो गया है ये GS3 में इतना मार्क्स आना, लेकिन हाँ 110 के लेवल पे तो आपको पहुंचा सकते हैं, कोई नहीं रोकेगा. बट इफ यू इसमें, और इसी लेक्चर से हो जाएगा, इसी नोट से, क्वालिटी डिस्कशन से, ओके। इनफैक्ट ग्रेजुअली वी कैन स्टार्ट लिंकिंग PYQs, जैसे आज प्रीलिम्स का क्वेश्चन लिंक किया, अगला जो टॉपिक होगा मे बी वी विल टेक डबलिंग फार्मर इनकम। डबलिंग फार्मर इनकम इज सो इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट। उस पर तो आप ऐसे लिख के आ सकते हो, उससे सी डबलिंग फार्मर इनकम को आप MSP से कनेक्ट करो, C2CL से कनेक्ट करो, राइट। फिर आप उससे कनेक्ट करो, दलवाई कमेटी की 14 रिपोर्ट्स आई हैं, उसमें से 1-2 रिपोर्ट इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट है, उससे कनेक्ट करो। शांता कुमार कमेटी के उससे कनेक्ट करो, ओके। देन एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री से, और यानी बहुत सारे यानी जस्टिस वाधवा की कमेटी की रिपोर्ट थी, तो उससे आप एक बिग कैनवास ड्रॉ कर सकते हो, ओके। सो आई होप, सी इफ यू guys will remain motivated, you will find fine, okay. Okay, thank you very much. So Ashish, you are fine, okay, okay, wonderful, see you.